Paul Feinbaum has had a weird agenda against the Alabama Crimson Tide and Kalen DeBoer for a few months now. Every clip I see him of is just attacking Alabama since Nick Saban's retired. I don't know if it's because he just hates Alabama, the hire that they have right now, and Kalen DeBoer doesn't believe in it. He sees some of the talent they lost in the portal, maybe that's why. Or he just wants to prop up Georgia as much as possible, which Georgia is a great team, the favorites to win the SEC, but I think it's kind of unfair to Alabama because he said so many wild things, and we'll get into it. But I kind of want to go over Kalen DeBoer's resume because I feel like Paul Feinbaum, he hasn't really acknowledged it. In a clip I'm going to show you on this video, he did.
I have rarely, if ever, seen you melt down like that over something as trivial as Alabama possibly missing the playoffs. Stephen A., your buddy Nick Saban is working at ESPN now. He's no longer the coach. And if you don't understand what that means, then you need to come down here to the South and I'll give you a tutorial.
Well, what about Kalen DeBoer? Everybody's been raving about the man. The man is 25-13 over the last 25-3. I'm sorry, over the last 2 years. He was in the national championship game last year. Okay, he's won 90% of his games as a head coach. All right, no matter where he's been, including 3 national titles on the Division II level before he arrived in Washington. He's a two-time Pac-12 Coach of the Year. This dude is no slouch now, Paul Feinbaum. I mean, he's got a pretty damn good resume.
Well, he does. He wouldn't have gotten the job without all that, but that doesn't mean anything. Stephen, I've covered Alabama a long time, as you know. Do you realize, and I hate to give you trivia questions here, but every coach at Alabama since Bear Bryant retired, he retired in 1982. Do you realize every coach at Alabama in his first year has lost 4 games or more? What I'm saying is that is a difficult transition. It's not like taking over at certain places.
But Kalen DeBoer won 2 national championships at the Division II level, and he went to Indiana after all that, and he was the offensive coordinator there with Tom Allen, with Michael Penix Jr. at Indiana, and then he went to Fresno State, went to be a head coach. He was 9-3 there, a really great season. That's when Washington went out and got him. What a tremendous hire by them, obviously. He went 10-2. The first year at Washington, he brought in Michael Penix Jr. The second year, we know last year the run that Washington had with the national championship game and the winning the Pac-12 and all that stuff. 14-1 put a few guys actually in the first round and not late first round, pretty early pick. So that Washington team was great. He was great. And with all that coaching experience right there, he is 104-12, his coaching record. So all Kalen DeBoer at Alabama has done is win. He has consistently won. And I'm just kind of getting a little agitated about some people at these other spots that are like, I don't know about Kalen DeBoer. I don't know. Well, first off, you got to give him a chance. In the 2025 recruiting cycle, he is dominating recruiting. And the agenda that you have to give him a chance, well, he did win everywhere he's been. And then we'll talk about this Alabama roster because I got some notes about their roster. It's just weird energy towards it. I don't really understand it. I think people have put in stock of Nick Saban retiring, which I have, of course. Kalen DeBoer by no means is going to be a Nick Saban. I will never say that. I don't think anyone would ever say that, to be fair, but Kalen DeBoer is a very good coach. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, I saw a list where he was ranked inside the top 5 as head coaches right now, even if he would have stayed at Washington, because of what he has done there. And it's just really weird. It's really weird to me because Kalen DeBoer, like I said, has won everywhere he's went. He has a national championship game experience at Washington. At Washington, he literally beat Texas in the Alamo Bowl the year before, and then he beat Texas in the college football playoff. It is magical what he did there. So, I don't know. Kalen DeBoer was never going to replace Nick Saban to be... I mean, Nick Saban's the greatest coach of all time. I think could be in any sport. I mean, he has been dominant. So, I really don't understand it, but I don't look at it as replacing Nick Saban. When you look at the rest of the pack, though, where does Kalen DeBoer line with the best coaches in our game right now? Kirby Smart's a better coach right now. I think his resume speaks that. He's won national championships. It's fair. But Ryan Day, he made the national championship game. Kalen DeBoer, I don't know if there's a difference that people may think there. If they think Ryan Day's a better coach or has a better resume, it's tough because both of them technically have made a national championship game. So it's not as big of a difference as you think it is, and I don't know. It's just really weird. Let's take a look at this Alabama roster because I think some people forget about this part. So last year, their starting quarterback, which they did have a little bit of a situation at the start of the year, where I think Ty Simpson was playing, some different guys who were in that quarterback. They didn't really know who their quarterback one was. And Nick Saban talked about that recently, where they were struggling to find their identity as an offense early on. And that's why they struggled. But they had Jalen Milroe, and he went 23 touchdown passes to 6 interceptions. So not terrible. And Jalen Milroe kind of really started doing well towards the end of the year. Now, I know people make fun of the Michigan game because he didn't have the greatest game. The offensive line was not good enough last year for Bama at all. And hopefully they improve in that area. I think they will. Much more experience at least. And he had 486 rushing with 12 touchdowns. So he was even better than a dual threat. He is a very big threat running the football, and every team knows that. So he'll always be tough to handle with that part. And I was coming across some articles talking about Jalen Milroe in high school. And some people were saying his comp was Lamar Jackson. And I think that was a really good comp because when I watch him, I do see some Lamar Jackson. Now, I don't know if he's going to be the college player that Lamar Jackson was. I mean, Lamar Jackson won a Heisman. What he did at Louisville was incredible. What he's doing in the NFL is credible. But what I'm saying is Jalen Milroe does have some similarities where his passing game is not where you want it to be yet. But he has that potential. He has the arm talent. He has the creative ability to make it, a very big asset in his game. And I think Jalen Milroe is in a good spot to where he can improve. And I think he's going to be a much improved passer this year. I have a really good feeling on that. I think he needs to put it on film. The 2024 talent composite came out last week, and I was looking through it. And let's look at where Alabama's at. Alabama in the 24/7 talents composite, which is just not accurate. There's different things that go into it. But recruiting-wise, this is the composite. So every recruiting base into one. And it's telling me who has the most talented roster on paper. Guess who's number one? The Alabama Crimson Tide. And they have 17 5-stars, which is the most by a few Georgia has 14 5-stars. Ohio State has 14 as well, I think. And then I think the next team is like 11 or something. So 17 5-stars, that's pretty good. They would be even closer, but they lost some 5-stars last year to the portal. Or else they would be like 19, 25 stars, which would be ridiculous. They have 54 stars. So blue chip type players, they have 50 of them on their roster. I think they only have like 18 3-stars or something. That's an incredible ratio. That's the biggest ratio you will see in the talent composite. This team is just littered with 5 stars and 4 stars and a lot of high 4 stars, like top 100 players. So Alabama has won technically in the talent composite the most talented roster in the country, and they still get a ton of hate. And I'm like, this Alabama roster is better than what people think. I really don't think they have looked into the roster like they have, and maybe they don't have players that are known yet. But I mean, let's look at some of these guys. Jalen Hill, wide receiver, a sophomore, a 5-star. If he puts it together, he's going to play, and the odds of him being a good player is pretty high. Justice Hayes, the running back from Alabama, he was a 5-star. Now, I think he's going to start this year, I'm pretty sure I saw. Keon Keeley, one of the most talented edge players in the country a few years ago in the recruiting cycle. He will play, and he'll play a lot. He's only like a sophomore. Caden Proctor, we know what happened with Iowa and Alabama when he transferred back, but still a 5-star NFL talent offensive lineman. Ryan Williams, a freshman, I've been hearing buzz that he is special. Ty Simpson, a quarterback that got some playing time last year, but he's a 5-star. He struggled a little bit, but he's going to be great in this future. I have a good feeling that he's going to be in a really good spot at Alabama. I mean, there's so many young talent on this team. I just don't really understand the hate of Alabama. It literally has to be the Nick Saban effect.
We got big questions to discuss ahead of the season, and we're starting with you, Paul. Is the Alabama dynasty over now that Nick Saban is no longer the head coach?
Ryan, we've seen Georgia win twice and Michigan win once since Alabama last won a national championship. So, yes, I would declare the dynasty done. It was done before Saban left. It's really done now that DeBoer is there.
Well, you know what, Paul? To somebody like me who lives in Baton Rouge, that is music to my ears.
That's what people think. It'll be such a Nick Saban effect in the schedule, which the schedule is tough. There's potentially 2-3 losses, but we're in the 12-team playoff. I don't expect Alabama to go undefeated. If that's people's expectation, I mean, they could do it, but my expectations for them to maybe drop a few games, and that would put them in the college football playoff. But that'll do it for me. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.